2025 is off to a great start. It is off to a great start. The rappers are rapping, okay? The rappers are coming out with bars. We had Joey Badass a couple days ago with a crazy verse, throwing some light competitive jabs at Kendrick at the West Coast, claiming King of New York. Okay, he wants to compete. I love it. I love the energy. And then a couple days later, we have Drake spitting bars. Now this freestyle, alleged freestyle, you know, we know what freestyle means, but these verses were recorded last year, most likely in November or prior to. I actually looked up the date as to when he cut his braids off. I didn't know that I needed that information for any reason, but apparently November 17th is when the articles are posted or when the picture was posted online, so we got to assume it was likely prior to that. If not, he could have been wearing that YK Osiris wig, the dread wig, which exists. But anyways, Drake dropped this freestyle, this fighting Irish freestyle, and he talks a lot about his relationship with LeBron James. He clearly seems hurt. And if we're being honest, you know, he definitely, there's reason for him to be hurt. I understand why he would be hurt. The man has LeBron James tattooed on his arm. Okay, he has a high school image of LeBron playing for the St. Vincent St. Mary's Fighting Irish on his arm. So if I tattooed a man on my arm, which I never would do, but let's just say hypothetically I did, and that man is then siding with my ops at the pop-out concert, singing along to a song that's calling me a you-know-what, I'd probably be upset too. And I would rap about it. So anyways, there's a lot to break down. Before we get into it, I do want to say it is 1:30 a.m. currently while I'm recording this. I'm never beating the allegations that I'm always high. So I just want to say today it's going to be even more so because it's 1:30 a.m. I just had to record this video. The ring light's going still. Okay, I'm tired, but I had to record this video for you guys. I know this is a big moment right now. The first Drake raps of the year. There's a lot to break down, so let's get right into it.
I love you.
Yeah, the summer is over, I missed it. Barrett was smoking, I kissed it. Fair showed us the renters for Texas, it's unrealistic. Cut him the check, cause I hate reviewing the budgets and limits. Just pay the man. The world fell in love with the gimmicks, even my brothers got tickets. Seemed like they loved every minute. Just know the shit is personal to us and it wasn't just business. Analyzing behavior.
So I thought that those bars were probably not only at LeBron James, but likely Demar Derozan as well. When he says, even my brothers got tickets, I actually took that in two different ways. The first way was that Drake always had Braun at his shows. You know, Drake always had Braun at his shows. There's even a video of him rapping on stage alongside Travis Scott and Drake. And Demar has showed up to many of Drake's shows as well, especially during his time in Toronto. Now LeBron also has supported Kendrick for a long time. I think it's very convenient for people to ignore that. There's many videos of LeBron going crazy to Family Ties, Front Row, going crazy to Humble. LeBron is a big hip hop fan. He's a Kendrick fan. He's a Drake fan. But his friendship with Drake is where this seems to have hurt the boy. Drake seems to be, disappointed and saying that maybe there was more so a relationship that he thought he had that maybe LeBron didn't see, or maybe something happened behind the scenes that we don't know. We'll never really know. But I do think the business line was more so Demar because they were working together technically. Drake was the ambassador for the Toronto Raptors. Demar was their star player at the time. Now, they did have conversations, and Drake said, Demar even said in an interview, sorry, it's late, I'm stuttering. In an interview, okay, Demar said that Drake invited him over to his house when he got traded, and they had a long talk, and that he was always there for him. So I do think that this line is basically saying, listen, it's more than business. This was a friendship. But I guess that was just me. Now we have to keep in mind as well, Demar is a close friend of Kendrick Lamar, and also they come from Compton together. So there's strong ties on that side from day one on the ground level. So there is kind of the complexity of like Drake may be looking at it a certain way, and maybe these two guys could have remained neutral. But LeBron is a hip hop fan, and Demar is from Compton. So there is that aspect of it. I also think he is referencing the fact that LeBron was at the pop out, you know, and he was excited. He was having a time. And Demar was in the Not Like Us video, you know. I believe Demar was at the pop out too, so the tickets could have been for that show. I was in attendance. Speaking of tickets, I was epic. I'm still not over it. But let's keep going.
Behavioral patterns is somewhat suspicious. Niggas was never happy for me when I run up the digits, or when I'm breaking world records still as I guzzle a Guinness, or when I...
First of all, the guzzle of Guinness was a fire bar, you know, Guinness World Records, but also guzzling a Guinness beer. That's how fast he's kind of breaking these records. But I think it's, you know, Justin Hunt pointed this out in his breakdown as well. But the bar where he's talking about, you know, when he's breaking records, his peers aren't happy for him. I think this is kind of going back to what he said in his Rap Radar interview with Elliot and B-Dot, where he said, when it's black excellence, they don't celebrate me. My peers don't celebrate me like some of them would get celebrated. And I think he still feels kind of isolated. He feels like he's this, you know, which he is to some degree. He's always been like, you know, a pop star. He's been a mega star. And that transcends hip hop in a lot of ways, not only musically, but the way that he's viewed. And so Drake clearly is feeling hurt. He's feeling isolated. He's feeling, you know, looking from the outside, like, look at what you're championing. You never championed me like that. It's kind of like a, you know, a victim mentality to a degree. But Drake is rapping from a hurt perspective. It's very clear here.
I get my fifth made back because the color is different. Remember we traded watches. I gave you the Arabic dial. You gave me a numbered edition. You would even check up on my...
This really does sound like, you know, when you're talking to an ex and you're like, remember when we shared secrets? We really shared secrets, and now you're out here with another guy? I bet are you sharing secrets with him too? Are you real? You're telling it? I bet you didn't tell him what you told me, because I knew we got to know each other that night. That's kind of what it sounds like. But let's keep going.
Son like a pediatrician. Sure convinced the gang that shit was rooted in love when it isn't. Show me.
So the bar about the pediatrician, I thought that was clever. But it's to me more of a statement about how close LeBron and Drake were at some point. And I don't think that we can deny that they were, you know, at least somewhat close. They were hanging out on vacation together. Clearly, Drake felt comfortable to tell the story about, you know, him and Ye during their beef on the shop. And it seemed like, you know, he was showing LeBron pictures of his kid. It seemed like LeBron knew early on the struggles that they were going through, and he confided in Bron. There's a clip going around where you know, he asked LeBron, you know, what he said after the beef, or LeBron said, "What did I tell you?" And Drake's like, "You said that I could never let you down." And so I think that there's this thing going, you know, their relationship ran deeper than just colleagues. And clearly the tattoo on Drake's arm, at least in Drake's mind, showed that. Now, I do want to say, I understand why Drake may have been so hurt, but I also think, and also I don't want to put there, we can't say that none of this is Drake's fault, because clearly if everyone's upset at him, Drake was doing things to people, right? Let's get that straight. But I think the most disappointing thing for him was realizing that these friendships weren't what he thought they once were. Clearly, Drake thought that these were real relationships, and to the other person, they weren't. And that happened time and time again here. You know, out of the 20v1, he might have been shocked at some of these. He might have been surprised by others, and some he might have assumed were against him. But some of these people, he seems to be hurt and feels betrayed. which is interesting coming from a guy who said no new friends years ago.
How different we are, there's blessings in juxtaposition. I guess now you boys gotta abandon your summer tradition. Cold shoulders I gave in the Hamptons, it come with the distance. Figured we was always gonna be close like ovens and kitchens.
So, allegedly, when Drake was at the white party, which is in the Hamptons, Michael Rubin's party, allegedly, he didn't really talk to people that much. There weren't as many people as usual talking to him. Now, I heard LeBron wasn't there. I heard LeBron wasn't in attendance this year, so I don't think that this bar could have been about LeBron. I do think that there were people who probably he thought he was cool with that didn't necessarily show up for him that day, especially when Not Like Us, the music video, dropped that day. And Michael Rubin said they weren't going to play that song, so it wouldn't have been that case. But, you know, it was at a time where people were choosing sides. And if you were in a picture with Drake, that was a side. If you were talking to him and caught, you know, chit-chatting it up, that would have been choosing a side. And I think a lot of people wanted to either remain neutral or maybe had picked their side or maybe weren't as close to Drake as he once thought they would have been. Now, there's people in attendance that there's speculation that it could be about. There's Travis Scott, who, you know, is close with Michael Rubin, and you would assume that he would be, you know, floating around that party. And we didn't see a picture of them too. And Travis was also on stage at Rolling Loud saying, play the to Metro. So that's an option. Some people are saying Wayne, which I don't want to believe, but I think that they were saying Wayne said he only spoke to one person at that party, and there's no pictures of Drake and Wayne speaking. And clearly after Wayne was mentioned in Not Like Us, and, you know, what happened afterwards, and there may be some tension there. So it could be about them. I thought it could potentially be about J. Cole. I know some speculation was going on about it being about J. Cole, that bar, you know, talking about Cole shoulders. And you know, Cole is in New York, not too far from the Hamptons, but I don't see Cole vacationing in the Hamptons. So I don't know. But LeBron and Drake have been on vacation together. I know that they've all partied together. Even on vacation recently, LeBron was rapping Drake lyrics. So maybe Drake is actually saying, you know, you got to find some new music to listen to on vacation because it's not going to be me anymore, clearly. Could be any of those. You can let me know in the comments.
Sadly mistaken, the loyalty wasn't a given. It's all good. And niggas cry the blues for you saying it wasn't malicious. Talking about we family, well, I'm not the cousin to visit.
So those bars I still think could be directed at J. Cole when he said that people cried the blues for you, talking about it wasn't malicious. We clearly know after J. Cole bowed out of the battle, he said, I didn't mean it, Kendrick. Yo, K-Dot, I was just playing. I was playing K-Dot. You know, and then people had sympathy for Cole, saying like, you know, he made the right decision. He didn't have any, you know, his dirt out there. It got messy. He got out on time. He got out on top. He still made it through. And I think Drake is kind of calling that out, saying, you know, they were showing sympathy, but I don't have any sympathy. And I know you were calling me your brother on Port Antonio, and we're all good. And keep your head up, Drake. Encouragement bars. But I think Drake is saying, we're not family. I'm not even the cousin you go visit. And in the next bar, he says something about if it comes time to putting your dirt out there, I hope it doesn't. And I think that that's kind of a double shot at potentially Cole. Again, this is speculation that it's at Cole, but it's also definitely at LeBron. And from what I've heard, I'm sure that there's some dirt out there on everyone, you know, but LeBron's got a pretty squeaky clean image. So I don't know if Drake's threatening or if he's just being like, I hope it doesn't come to that, whether it be Cole or DeMar or LeBron, but he's basically saying like, don't push this. Don't come for me crazy here. That's what I think, but who knows?
God forbid we ever gotta tarnish your public image. All that brother talk as if I really discovered a sibling. 6 degrees, my memories retrieving our humble beginnings. Niggas wanted trouble, grabbed a shovel and dug up some ditches. Cover my body in dirt, but that wasn't me. That wasn't me.
I took that as like, yo, you thought you killed us. You thought you buried us. You thought you killed me, but that was just a body double. And it's funny because later on he has a bar about people liking the rabbit out of the hat. I don't know if he's making, another claim about this being magic, but I don't think you can work that magic, Drake. I think that was you. We saw the footage in 4K. We saw the Family Matters video. We heard the Heart Part 6. That was claimed. That record was claimed. It was not AI. You just got to accept the loss. You just have to accept it. I like this acceptance of hurt on this song. Like, it's okay to be upset. It's okay to be vulnerable. We like Drake with the emotions. That's the Drake that I grew up loving. But I think you got to accept the loss. You really should just accept it rather than this whole dodging method of, oh, well, they pulled the magic trick out and you guys got to bury me with Egyptian caskets next time. And that was a body double. That wasn't me. Come on, let's just accept it. Hold the L. It's okay. You can still keep rapping at a high level. It's all right. It's okay.
That was a body double and we done dozens of switches. Niggas tried to light the front gate up. It wasn't for Christmas. I said
I think that bar was about when there was a shooting in front of Drake's gate. Specifically, the word gate was used in the news reports, which was tragic. And so I think he was actually reflecting on, who was that aimed for. And I think that's what he was talking about in that bar.
Prayer that morning for Sean and it wasn't religious.
Who is Sean though? He says I prayed for Sean that morning and it wasn't religious. I don't think he would have been talking about Combs. I don't think he would have been talking about Jay-Z, right? That seems weird to have prayed that morning. I don't know. It could be a random Sean, but let me know in the comments if you have any theories about who the Sean is that Drake was praying for after that incident at his house.
It came from a place of desperation and utter submission. Rapping was over for now. It came like a sudden decision. I don't give a fuck about you snakes or these other musicians. Niggas started fucking with my family. I'm going to prison. And we all crashing out together. My brother's complicit. Who put a pipe bomb in your trunk? It wasn't an exhibit. I'm trying to blow the doors off that bitch when you touch the ignition. But then I gotta remember who made this shit come to fruition. It's me.
So these bars, I had trouble kind of why he was talking like that. Like that to me sounds kind of threatening a little. Like, where are we going with this bar? Especially after what's been going on in America the past few days. Timing is kind of crazy on those bars, even though this would have been recorded beforehand. But I can't tell if at the end he's pulling it back. Like, no, I got to remember everything comes back and circles back to me because I'm at the top of this and it's my name on everything. Or if he's saying, I got to remember that I did it, even though these other people would have had to do those things. It's technically my doing because I bring it to life by saying so. I think it kind of reminds me of those bars where he says on what song on Draft Day he says something like that, where he says like, I tell them not to, so they pull back. You guys know the bars I'm talking about, but like, I don't know. This was weird. Especially for somebody who's already going to court and who already just got named in a court case when it comes to XXXTentacion, and there's already some weirdness going on around there. I wouldn't touch these type of topics, but that's just me. But then again, I'm footnote 15 in the UMG lawsuit, so who am I to talk,
Who's got the most to lose and who's in that other position? Signal conversations where I hope they got double encryption.
Signal being the app where you can talk, without it kind of going to the government or it being public messaging because it's encrypted. So I don't know what he's talking about here. I really don't know what he's talking about here. But, there also is Kendrick's statement where he said that Drake was putting receipts out on his head when it comes to information. So maybe that was on Signal. And so who knows what's true or not. I do think when he said who has the most to lose and who's in the other position, that he was talking about Kendrick, though, where Drake did have more to lose. I will admit that. Drake did have more to lose in this battle. You know, if Kendrick did lose to Drake, to some degree, Kendrick was the underdog. I know there's a lot of people that think it was like, there's no way Kendrick could have lost, but we got to remember Billboard was posting and said Drake won no matter what. People after Push-Ups and Taylor Made are like, it's over. Fat Joe said it was over. Okay, so I do think that Drake had more to lose, and he clearly did lose quite a bit in terms of public image, in terms of endorsement deals, and if what he's alleging is true when it comes to him negotiating a deal with UMG, then it could be multiple hundreds of millions of dollars that he loses. So Drake did have a lot to lose in this battle. I will agree with that.
I hate to see the empire crumble on judges' convictions. This nigga pulled a rabbit out the hat and y'all love a magician. It's funny to see you all rejoicing and hugging and kissing.
Yeah, when he says they pulled a rabbit out the hat, like this was some sort of magic trick that Kendrick did that, oh, wow. I would argue you could say that about Pusha T, because even though he did win that battle, there was this kind of big reveal. But Kendrick's reveal of the daughter wasn't a magic trick. You know, Meet the Grams was scathing. But the strategy that Kendrick used, the actual rapping that Kendrick had on Euphoria, and the song making ability that he had on Not Like Us was no magic. That was good artistry and good barring and good MCing. And good is an understatement. It was top tier, high level, number one level rapping. And he won through that, through strategy, through stepping on the release of Family Matters, through going back-to-back on 616 and Euphoria, then going back-to-back again on Meet the Grams and Not Like Us, and dropping the scariest diss track of all time with Meet the Grams. These were not magic tricks. Okay, I get the sentiment he's trying to come, no. He won through the music, through the strategy, through being an incredible MC. Now, you could say that that's godlike skill, that he's got magic with the pen. You can say that.
What are we celebrating? I rent out the club at Edition. Nothing was the same.
But he also says that everyone was rejoicing and celebrating. It almost seems like he's talking about how everyone, he sees like everyone excited for Drake's downfall and this narrative that everyone is waiting for him to fall off the top. And maybe that's true to some degree. Maybe that is true to some degree. There definitely were people who were waiting for Drake's run to end. And there's probably people who Drake did some things to behind the scenes that were actually happy about this. Clearly, some of the responsibility has to fall on Drake for how he treated people on the way up to the top, for people to be happy for your downfall. But again, these are all things behind the scenes that we may never know.
All you bitches and nothing's forgiven. But next time, bury me in gold. My blood is Egyptian. The Dennis James come out when the vodka is flooding my system.
Yeah, he's saying, next time, bury me in gold. My blood is Egyptian. Like, it didn't work. I'm still here. I'm still alive. Which I do agree. Drake is still rapping. Drake is still making music. Drake can still be one of the biggest artists in the world. It's just he lost this battle. And that's all he has to accept. Okay? And I think for him to move on and move forward properly, he may have to come to terms with that. I don't know if he has yet in his mind. And I don't know if some of his fans have, because I see people every day. This Justin Hunt called it the Family Matters remix. I listened to Family Matters again recently. Verse 2 is incredible. Okay, verse 2 is amazing for what it was. I think he shot down all his targets. But I think it was also part of the downfall, the fact that he put verse 2 in because he wasn't focused on Kendrick. But if you listen to verse 1 and verse 3, they really didn't age well. The I'm Going on Vacation bar did not age well. The Dave Free bar did not age well. None of those bars, people saying it aged like fine wine. No, it did not. Family Matters did not age well. I'm not saying it's a bad song. I'm not saying Drake wasn't rapping at a high level. I said verse 2 was one of the best verses of the year. But that didn't do anything. That did not win the battle. And that did not come close to winning the battle. And somebody tweeted it might have knocked down 99.9% of rappers. Cool. Kendrick was that 1%, that 0.1%. So I'm just saying.
I don't have a drinking problem. I got a subtle addiction. I got my father's habits and I got my mother's permission.
Speaking of, this whole end of the verse to me was a response to Meet the Grams. I don't know why I said response like that. A little Boston response. But yeah, he's responding to Meet the Grams in a weird way to me. This was weird. Like he says, like he kind of admits to it. He doesn't really deny this. He says, like, you know, he denied the daughter thing immediately, but he didn't deny anything else in Meet the Grams. And this is not even a denial. This is more of an acceptance. Like, he's saying, I kind of do have an addiction when it comes to drinking. In fact, he's drinking right now while he's rapping this, which is clearly a conscious decision to take that one sip because it was out of frame. Other than that, you just see the corner of the cup. And he's also drinking, you know, a spritzer, or a wine cooler, which was referenced on 616 in LA when Kendrick was rapping from Drake's perspective, which you can clearly hear the cadence and the tone of one of these timestamp records, which this clearly seems to feel like. And when you put Kendrick's 616 in LA verse over top of something like this, an instrumental like this, a conductor beat, it sounds very similar. So the wine cooler thing, but also he says there's vodka in his system. He says it's a subtle addiction. I don't know what that means. Is that just a hidden addiction? Is that just something you don't want to talk about? You don't want to put in the public? But anyways, he's admitting to it. I don't know what his mother's permission means. Like, would his mom permit to him drinking? There is that weird story about his mom's friend feeding him drinks when he was younger, which could have led to things. But I don't know.
My dad has another child. I told him that wasn't my sister. Grew up with dozens of Jews, churches with dozens of...
That part was weird to me. My dad has another daughter. I told him that wasn't my sister. I don't know. What do you guys think that means? Do you think that means he's saying, like, my dad's kid I don't associate with, or he had another family and I had an unexpected child in terms of Adonis and we can relate on that? Or is he saying that the girl that Kendrick's claiming is his daughter is actually his dad's daughter? Or is he just saying that it's possible? I don't know. This feels like a denial of the daughter in a weird way, but also not. I can't really tell, but it's definitely a reference to the daughter. And I know that a lot of people have told me behind the scenes, you know, believe what you want, but a lot of people have told me that there is a daughter. And there's a lot of claims online, two baby mothers specifically, that people are looking at that could be, but that a lot of people say that they could have signed NDAs and that those NDAs may not be up for a long time. Again, all of this is speculation. Who knows? Who knows the truth? All I do know is that Drake is responding to Meet the Grams. The next bar, too, he's responding.
Christians also developed a deep respect for the Muslim religion.
This is when Kendrick said, you lied about your religious views. You know, he's basically responding to that by saying, I grew up around a lot of different religions. All of these things are kind of responses to Kendrick. Not shots, which is good. I do commend Drake for not shooting at Kendrick. He's just kind of reflecting. But these are responses in a degree.
I'm staring at my daddy while y'all tell me I wasn't that nigga. That's fucking crazy. That's crazy.
And that also seems like a response to Euphoria almost. That seems like a response to Euphoria, where Drake is talking about, I'm staring at my dad, how can you tell me I'm not that? Meaning, you know, Kendrick said, don't say that word anymore. And he's talking about, you know, you're not really black. Or, you know, you are, you know, claiming a culture that you're not. And he says, I'm looking at my dad. How can I not be? How can I not be him? So I feel like a lot of that was a response to Kendrick's Meet the Grams. I don't know if I missed anything. I tried to break down all of it, but again, it's 1:30 a.m. It's 2 a.m. now. So let me know if I missed anything in the comments. What did you think of the verse? You hate it, you love it, you never want to hear Drake again. You want to hear that Drake party album, you want to hear Drake more, you know, rapping. What are your predictions for more of 2025? I personally liked the verses. I'm glad he started to get vulnerable and that he actually expressed his hurt. But I do think that in order for this to fully hit, he kind of needs to accept the loss and stop pretending. On some of those bars where he's talking about body doubles and Egyptian blood, and just accept the loss and then you can revel in the hurt. Because I understand if you have a tattoo of LeBron James on you and LeBron James is at the pop out singing a song dissing you, why you would be upset. I honestly do. I would be upset too. So I think the hurt comes from a real place, and I'm actually glad he's expressing this and I'm glad he's talking about it. I'm glad he didn't take shots at Kendrick. So I don't really have a huge problem with this song. I would like to see it fully released. I would like to hear how it sounds if he's actually recorded properly with the crisp mixing from 40 or Oliver or whoever's doing the mixes. And yeah, so I'm excited to see if we get more rapping Drake in 2025. I would like that. I'm not necessarily against the Party album, but I'm not looking forward to it. But I would be looking forward to a Drake solo album to see how he kind of reflects and addresses all of this and see how vulnerable he's willing to get with his thoughts. But let me know in the comments. Oh, also, Fighting Irish, LeBron's high school team name. So that's where that name of the song comes from. But see you guys soon. I'm about to go to bed, and we'll be back with a bigger picture next week. So got a lot to say, got a lot to talk about. If nobody else has told you yet today, I appreciate you. Peace.